Hi everybody, this is our first video on the channel, and in this video we are going to be trying to get this old tractor started and maybe doing kind of a tutorial on changing its oil. So first things first, we're giving some tips on starting. We're going to be gapping the plug, changing the spark plug, we're going to be changing the oil. And getting it started. Yeah. So what are you going to do first? So this has been sitting for probably 5-6 months, maybe more. So there's a couple things. First, we are going to check the gasoline here, and we're going to see if the gasoline has went bad. If it has a sweet or very potent smell, it's probably bad. It does have a little bit of a sweet aroma, but we are going to just, I mean, there's an inch of gas in there, so we're just going to mix it. It should be okay. Maybe not, but it is just a yard tractor. We're going to go for it. Let's see. First things first, what are we going to do? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to refill the tank here. Okay, so what we're going to do now, after we've filled the gas tank, we are going to replace the spark plug. Yeah. So now we're going to replace the spark plug, which is right here.
1 second, I'll be right back. Hey, I'm doing it.
It's out.
Ta-da!
Now this is an NGK spark plug, and we have the number right here. So you can bring this to your parts store, they can match it up. We actually have a new NGK spark plug that matches right here. So we're going to use that instead. Okay, now we need to gap our spark plug before we put this in. The spark plug came pre-gapped, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the right measurement. So we're going to use some feeler gauges here, and we are going to find the correct gapping for the spark plug. What was that, Isaac?
0.028.
0.028. So because this particular feeler gauge only goes up to 0.026, we're going to have to add some of these thinner ones. So this is a 0.012 and a 0.016, which would total out to 0.028. So we're going to take the feeler gauges here, make sure they're nice and clean. We're going to hold them flat, and we're going to put them right between there. Okay, that's a little tight, but it's pretty close. So because it's too tight, we're just going to bend this open just a little bit. Put a little anti-seize on. Actually, just take it in your finger. So just right around here, right, Isaac?
Yep.
Because we don't want to interfere with the business end of the spark plug.
So when you put in a spark plug, you put it in and then put it in finger tight. Then once you can't turn it anymore with your fingers, you snug it up with a socket and wrench or whatever you're using. And don't do it too much, just make it nice and snug, because if you do it too tight, it'll strip it.
If you're trying to start your engine and it isn't starting, one reason might be because you're not getting spark. So if we're going to check for spark, all we're going to do, put our old spark plug back in the wire. We're going to hold it up to a grounding point on the engine. Hold the body to a grounding point. Then we're going to turn the engine over a little bit. I'll show you that now. Alright, so I have this here grounded against this bolt.
You ready?
I'm going to cut my hand over it so we can maybe see it. It's kind of brighter out today, and it's not a very bright spark. But Isaac's going to pull.
Here we go.
Alright, I don't know if you could have seen that or not. Probably not, it is too bright, but it did spark a little bit. So that is one thing that you can check. Just ground the body of the spark plug out against a ground on your engine. Turn it over, see if you have a spark.
So to take out the air filter, you can just take off this wing nut with your fingers. And on the inside, you will find your air filter. And we were going to replace it, but we had a hard time finding another one, so we just blew it from the inside out with an air hose. So it should be good. And
can I see that a minute? So you're saying that you blew it from the inside out, meaning you took the air gun and you blew from here out?
Yep.
All right, and that was just so that you didn't blow the contaminants and the dust back in, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you can just take the cover, put it back on, and then just tighten up the wing nut.
But in this instance, because we're going to be working, we may have to put some fuel into the carburetor itself. We're going to leave the air filter off for now, so that we can attend to that. And then once we get it started, if we do need to put fuel into the carburetor, we'll put the air filter back on. We are also going to check the oil. Alright, it is kind of low, and it's also kind of dirty. So we're going to change the oil later on in the video. For now, I'll just put this back in and get to that later.
Now, this has been sitting for a number of months, like I said, so it may have some trouble starting it, but we'll find out. So, we do not have an electric ignition on here, we only have this. I'm going to pull the throttle out. When we're starting it, we're going to open the throttle all the way up, and after we get it started, we'll push it back in a bit. But for now, to get it started, we'll leave the throttle all the way up. May take a bit. Now, if we are having some trouble here, we can always take a little gasoline out of the tank, or out of the gas can, put it inside the carburetor. So, I'm going to fill this up. This is an old turkey baster. And I'll hand that to Isaac.
Squirt it in. Close the choke.
There you go. The reason is because the fuel may not be in the carburetor after having sat that long, so we'll just put some fuel in there right now. Get it going.
There you go.
I don't know if you can hear me. I lowered the throttle because the engine is still cold, and I opened the choke halfway as well. Now while that's running, I'm going to put the air filter back on. And I'll also put the cover on. Alright, now I opened the choke all the way. We're going to let it run for a bit.
So we're going to be doing a oil change a little bit later in the video, but for now we're going to let it run and let it pick up all the sediment and run it through the engine, and then we'll change the oil.
We have a couple options. One, we can go and change the oil now, or we can go and have some lunch. I think I'm going to go for the latter. Lunch? Yeah. Lunch?
Lunch.
Alright, let's go. Alright, let's go get lunch. A ham sandwich, some little naturally flavored cheese crackers, some little orangey fruit thing, the original Sprite.
Okay, so we're back from lunch,
Yep.
and what are we going to do next?
The next step is we're going to drain the oil and change it. So we shut the engine off after we let it run for a bit to get the oil all mixed up and any sediment from sitting for so long mixed back into the oil. Now we're going to drain it. So over here we have the drain plug. So we have a 12mm wrench and the drain plug here, and we're just going to crack it open. Maybe.
Maybe.
We have our drain pan under there to catch the oil after the plug is out.
There we are.
And we'll just let that drain completely, and then we'll put our new oil in. Be back in a minute.
So satisfying.
Alright, so we've had this draining for a little bit. However, because the oil's sitting down in the bottom of the engine right now, it's not draining out anymore. So there should still be a little bit in there, so we're going to try to tip the engine, or to tip the whole tractor a little bit towards that hole. Anything?
Just a little bit.
Alright, so we're done with this. We have enough oil drained out. So Isaac over here is putting the drain plug back in. How tight do we want to put that, Isaac?
Just make it snug. You don't want to like screw it in super tight so you can't ever get it back out again.
Now we're going to put fresh oil in.
We're using 10W30 regular motor oil, and we're not using the small engine oil, just the regular stuff, and it should be fine for this. So here we have a engine oil pouring trick. So instead of just pouring out of the front and accidentally spilling your oil everywhere, you can pour it out of the side or the back, and it'll pour more slowly and you will have more control instead of pouring it all over your engine and making a mess.
I'd actually just done that the other day when I was putting oil in my 4Runner. I poured it out the front, I wasn't paying attention, and I had a big oil puddle all over the driveway. Okay, so the next step here is, well, we put some oil in, but because the oil ran down the inside of the tube, we have to wait for it to drain and to drain down into the engine out of the tube. Because if we try to check the oil, it's running up all along the inside of the tube, so it's all over the stick. You can't really tell anything. So we're going to put this back in, just let it drain, and we'll get back in a minute.
Oh, jingle bells, shotgun shells. I don't even know what the rest of that song is.
So it is drained down enough that we can start to see it. Still looks like it's quite a ways low, so we're going to keep adding. So when we're putting oil in, it can be just as bad for the engine to not have, or to have too much oil as it is to have not enough oil. You want to have just the right amount. So if you do have too much, take the drain plug back out, drain a little until it's at the right level. Okay, so after we have our oil in, we can check one more time. So we're just going to put the dipstick in. Don't screw it in. Take it out, wipe it off if you need. Put it in. Alright, we are down a little bit from the fill line. Right there. We're good. But we'll leave it right there for now. Now we can screw it in. You don't want to put it in there. You want, for your accurate reading with the dipstick, just rest it in there. But after we're done, screw it right in, and we're ready.
Alright, here we go.
Wait.
Ready?
Yep. We're going to let it run for a bit, and then I'll open the choke, and then we'll shut the hood. That is totally cool. So the tires are pretty flat right now, but we have it going. So we just got to pump the tires up, and then we're ready to go around the yard.
Now Ian is working on the body work.
Alright, so we got the tractor running, we changed the oil, changed the spark plug, built the tire up. We're going to drive around the yard a little bit, or Dad is. Bye!
Well, there he goes.
And then we're off. There he goes! Have fun!
I guess we're not driving the tractor.
Well, we may have to hijack it and take it over.
Get the guns. And we're done.
That is totally good news.
I hope you had fun watching, because we had fun doing this. See you in the next video.
See you later.